Hi everyone, this is a review on the Le Tarot de Marseille. My French is not that great, but that is what the deck is called. So this is a review on this particular deck. Now I will say that it hasn't released yet, and I was very lucky to have been sent this ahead of time. So I'm going to give you a nice preview and a look at this particular deck, and I'm going to be showing it to you as well. So this is what it looks like. It is super colourful. Now it is a mini tarot deck, so it is much smaller than the normal standard card sizes that you'll find. So the normal kind of playing card size and the tarot card size that you see is this size right here. So this is the standard size, and then this is the card. You can see that it is much smaller. So that's just a little comparison on the card size. It is very mini, it's very cute. I think it's great for traveling, or if you perhaps don't have so much space and you want smaller size cards. I think that this particular deck is really great, and it's very simple. You know, the back of the card, the pattern is very simple. I have seen other tarot cards that are miniature. Let me just grab an example where they have more intricate designs on them. So this is one of them, and then I also have this one as well to show you as well, another mini deck as well, where it's just a little bit more intricate. So it is a bit more on the simpler side, but I don't mind that because I have other cards with other different designs on them, so I don't really mind. But yeah, you know, if you're someone that really likes, you know, the back of your cards to be really exciting, this is a bit more on the simpler side, but I will say that the cards themselves take the cake. You know, the actual illustrations on the cards really are very bright, very colourful. They are to the point, you know, you will not miss them. So that is something I do want to mention. Now the box itself is just a standard carton. It's very simple, it's very colourful. It does have one of the illustrations, of course, on the front of it. On the side it's got the barcode, and then you've got the world card on the other side as well. Well, technically it depends which way, you know, front, back, whatever. But yeah, that's what we have here. And then, yeah, that is pretty much the card deck. So a lot of it is in French. That is something I do want to mention. The deck itself came with this little information bit as well. And I will say again, it is all in a completely different language. So I have no idea what it means. I mean, I could definitely do some research, but it just comes with information. A lot of card decks do come with information. I will say that this does not come with a booklet or a leaflet or anything to really guide you as to how to use these cards. So the first thing I will say is that these are not necessarily beginner friendly. Now I was sent this deck, and I am still doing a very honest review because that's what I do, you know, and I will say that if you're a beginner, this most likely is not the deck for you because it may be confusing. You will most likely go online and just do your own research anyways and then learn the deck. So maybe it doesn't matter, but I like it when the companies actually do provide you with some form of information so you can kind of follow that, right, with a booklet or a leaflet or whatever. So this does not come with that. And I will also say the other thing that's quite difficult about these cards as well is that it doesn't say what any of the cards are. Now there's a lot of tarot cards that don't say what they are, but because it's traditional tarot and, you know, you kind of can understand what the illustrations are, with some of these it's a little bit more difficult because you just might get a little bit more confused. Now it does have things written in French, so if you're French, that is great. It will really help you. But if you don't speak French or you don't read French, then it may be a little bit more of a challenge. Okay, so unless you learn the meanings of all of these cards, then you'll be totally fine. But aside from that, you know, I just want to mention that perhaps with beginners it may be quite confusing, quite challenging, and it just might be a little bit too much. So if you're not a beginner, this can be a really great deck because it's really cute. It's got some really wonderful little illustrations on here, as you can see right there. They are just really fun, very colourful, very exciting. I haven't got anything like this in my collection, and I just feel like it's just exciting, and that is the main reason for that. So of course I'm just going to go through all of the cards and placing them on the table. So we've got the Hierophant there. Number 2 technically is High Priestess, right? The High Priestess is what follows the Magician. So that is not the Hierophant, that is the High Priestess. I was just looking at the numbers actually, but on kind of like my first thought, I thought that was the High Priestess. So again, you know, this is a deck that I am going to have to learn. I'm going to have to figure out which cards are which for sure, because again, if it wasn't for the numbers, then, you know, if I'm comparing it to the normal, you know, the Rider-Waite deck, it's not really normal, it's the Rider-Waite deck, it's the traditional tarot, then I would have assumed that was a completely different card. So I'm actually really glad that they've put the numbers on the major arcana, otherwise I would be confused. Because I was about to say, you know, number 2 in the major arcanas is actually the High Priestess, not the Hierophant. So that is what we have here. So there we go. Right, so that is the one. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the illustrations rather than talk about which cards are which, because I might actually quite literally get muddled up like I just did a second ago. Okay, so some of them are a little bit more obvious. For example, La Justice is the Justice card. La Hermite is the Hermit card. Okay, so some of them are much, much easier for sure to understand. Okay, for example, that one's very, very obvious. It is, in fact, the Hanged Man. This one, very easy again to understand because it literally says Temperance. This one is the Devil, because of this particular phrase, which, by the way, I learnt from the Dior exhibition, because Dior actually was very interested in tarot, and before each of his catwalk shows he actually used to read tarot, like he used to get his tarot read. And so I saw this Dior show at the V&A in London, and he had, well, it wasn't him that did it, it was the new creative director at Dior, who's called Maria Grazia Curie, or Curie, gosh, I've really butchered her name, and she did this entire collection based on tarot, and so all of these coats had all of these incredible tarot cards on it, but they were written in French, and so one of them actually did say Le Diable, which of course is the devil, and she was explaining it. So that's how I know that this one is definitely the devil, is because I saw that, and of course, you know, it's French. So yeah, anyways, so there's a lot, you know, there's a lot of history with Dior and tarot for sure. You know, he really loved it. So we've got these other cards. We've got La Lune, which of course is the moon. Okay, maybe my French is not that bad, but it's obviously not that great either. Le Soleil, which of course is the sun. We've got Le Judgment, which of course is judgment. We've got the World card, Le Monde. Okay, and then we've got here the Wands. So this will obviously, you know, take me a bit of learning as well, but we've got the Roman numerals here, which should make it much, much easier, but they're very similar also, if you look at that, right? So I'm glad that they have put the numbers on here. That is something that I will mention. Okay, so we just go through all of those, and then we go through, you know, the page and the knight and the king and the queen. Okay, and then we go through this with all of the cups, and then we've got the page, knight, king, queen, pentacles, so we've got the ace, and then we've got all of the pentacles that follow the suit. Okay, and then we've got the page, knight, queen and king is the way that it goes queen and then king, and then we've got the ace of swords, and then the 2, the 3. Okay, so that keeps continuing on as well. So we've got another little information bit as well here, but again in another language, so that was pretty much shuffled in there. I must have shuffled these as well. So again, we've got the page, okay, so we've got the page and the knight, and then we've got the king and the queen. So this, I believe, must be the king, right? Or the king, queen. Anyways, so I do need to learn them because I can't read French to save my life. Well, I can a little bit, but not all of it. So those are the last for that. This is kind of embarrassing, actually, because it just goes to show that I do have to learn these cards, you know, and I do have to memorize them. I don't just randomly, out of nowhere, just know what everything means. I do have to learn it, and I do have to meditate with the cards and understand their energies and make sure I get the cards right. That is something very, very important. So this is my review on the Le Tarot de Marseille. And if you enjoy this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and definitely do let me know what you think about this particular cute little mini deck. I personally think it's a really great deck. Is it beginner friendly? Probably not, but I think that if you're familiar with tarot and you want a challenge, you want something new, you want something really fun, something very colourful, this is probably the deck for you. And once you've learnt it, you know, and then you'll know the meanings of it. So that's not a big deal, but it will take a bit of learning, I feel, especially. Unless you're French, in which case, you know, it will probably be a lot easier. But, well, if you're French, or if you know how to speak French, you know. So, yeah, let me know what you think. Also, in the description box below, there's information for private paid readings, free reading giveaway, and also my bracelets, which are on Etsy, which are handmade intention bracelets. So if you are interested in seeing how these work, definitely do check out the reviews on Etsy. It's amazing to see how these bracelets have helped so many people, so do check those out. There's love, twin flames, soulmate, career, evil eye, there's protection bracelets, chakra bracelets, there's so many on there, so do check those out if you're interested. And yeah, I will see you all very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.